Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Liquid here. And if I can go back in time to visit my younger self, I'd tell him to buy all the things. I would also give him some general life advice. Your 20s can be an exciting time. There's so much potential for personal growth, but it can also be quite confusing. How do you invest for retirement? What are some useful habits to get into? And how do you avoid major financial mistakes? It took me a while to discover successful habits that actually work. So here are 5 things I wish I knew in my 20s. The first tip is to stand on the shoulders of giants. It can be difficult to achieve a big goal if you only rely on your own skills and experience. So why not borrow the knowledge from others who have already conquered the journey? By learning from proven leaders, you can be better prepared and avoid common mistakes. That's because achieving success depends more on the methods and principles you practice than how hard you try. You can gain valuable knowledge from experts by vicarious learning, where you copy someone else's mental models and behaviors. This lets you learn through their experiences rather than conducting your own trial and error. Try to find mentors and follow up with them from time to time. You can also follow famous people who talk about their experiences. If your goal is to become financially independent, let's say, then study what wealthy people are doing. Read their books, watch their interviews, and mimic their financial strategies. Learn how they failed in the past and what they did to finally succeed. Incorporate their habits and ways of thinking into your own life. You don't need to reinvent the wheel or discover new ways to make money. The experts at the top of their game have already written the indispensable playbook to prosperity, and they're generously sharing it with the world. There are tons of resources to help you develop good financial habits. I'm going to give a couple of examples, which brings me to tip number 2. Become a voracious reader. Warren Buffett reads 5 hours a day. Bill Gates devours 50 books a year and is known to literally carry around a bag of books when he travels. Successful people would rather be educated than entertained. That's why 9 out of 10 wealthy people devote at least half an hour a day to self education or self improvement reading. Reading is an excellent way to spark imagination, and it gives you a chance to learn from the greatest minds throughout history. Today's readers are tomorrow's leaders. Reading also helps you become a more independent thinker. It will expose your mind to new ideas, to people who are different than you. If you can make an argument for the other side better than your opponents can, and still believe in your position, then you can be confident in your intellectual reasoning. If you're looking for ideas, Think and Grow Rich is a captivating blueprint for creating wealth and abundance. It contains principles summarized from interviews with high net worth individuals. Similarly, The Millionaire Next Door compiles all the common habits of the wealthy, like setting goals, creating multiple income streams, taking on calculated financial risks, avoid buying status symbols, and investing for the future. Both are excellent books to develop your human capital. Reading is one of the highest returns on investments you can make. If you want to succeed, you have to read. And if you do a lot of reading, one principle you'll probably come across is tip number 3: focus on creating value. This may sound counterintuitive at first, but the best way for you to become financially successful is to actually focus on improving other people's lives. A common way to do this is to solve other people's problems. The bigger the problem you solve and the more people you help, the more successful you'll be. The exchange of value is the foundation of the business world. So when you add value to the world, money will soon follow. If you provide just $1 worth of value to a million different people, then you'll become a millionaire. So instead of focusing on making money, try to look for ways to help others. That's a good rule of thumb to keep in mind. And speaking of rules, number 4 is to be mindful of the 80-20 rule. This is a natural occurrence where roughly 80% of consequences come from 20% of the causes. You can find this pattern in pretty much every domain of human activity. For example, 20% of criminals commit 80% of crimes. 20% of drivers cause 80% of all traffic accidents. 20% of patients account for 80% of the healthcare spending. 20% of the population owns 80% of the land. 20% of basketball players score 80% of all the points. You wear 20% of your wardrobe 80% of the time. This happens in nature as well. 20% of pea pods contain 80% of the overall peas, and 20% of bird species make up 80% of all bird sightings. The list goes on. These statistics follow a Pareto distribution curve, which essentially means a small percentage of a group produce most of the outcome. It's analogous to Price's law in the workplace, where 50% of the work is done by the square root of the number of employees. And there are lots of ways you can make use of this knowledge. All you have to do is just be aware of it. Once you understand that not all work generates equal results, you can shift your expectations. For example, you can find and pursue a discipline or domain where you know your skills put you in the top 20% in that field. Once you are mindful of this natural imbalance, you can begin to work with it, not against it. I wish I had known about the 80-20 rule back in college. I studied engineering even though I knew I wasn't very good at it. Eventually, I had to drop out and I went to art school instead, which is what I should have done in the first place. It's okay to not fit in all the time. You can't be good at everything, but you are certainly good at something. So don't waste your potential. Know where your strengths lie. That is where you can add the most value, and you should align your goals around that. And if you already have a job, this principle still applies. Let's say you work in sales. Well, most likely 20% of your customers are responsible for 80% of your sales. This means you can find out who these 20% are and you can invest more in them, which can skyrocket your commissions. So you can see how powerful this statistic is. It's not just a fundamental phenomenon, it's also practical and very underused. Another underused practice is the last tip, which is to adopt an abundance mindset. This will help you figure out a way to get what you want or need. You will not be in constant pursuit of things because you know you can have those things anytime you want. Abundance creates freedom. By contrast, a scarcity mindset means everything is a zero sum game, and if someone else succeeds, that means you lose. You can become aware of when your thoughts are creating a mindset of scarcity or abundance. By taking notice of this, you can begin to make a conscious effort to shift your thoughts towards abundance. This is important because your mindset can radically affect the course of your life. The way you think about yourself and the world can change the way you learn, how you handle stress, and even how your immune system functions. So you can literally change your future by changing your attitude. As Oprah once said, you don't become what you want, you become what you believe. So here's how to practice an abundance mindset. The next time you run into a problem, try telling yourself there are no problems in life. There are only possibilities for growth. And whenever you're about to fail, try telling yourself you can't lose because either you win or you learn. Either one will move you forward in life. How you perceive the world depends on the narrative you create in your mind. Thinking in a positive manner will generate a positive feedback loop that will make it easier for you to attain your goals. So there you have it. Following these 5 tips will allow you to discover valuable insights about the world around you, as well as yourself. And knowing yourself, as Aristotle once said, is the beginning of all wisdom. Anyway, thanks for watching this video. Hopefully this has given you some guidance to help you create long-term wealth and happiness. Share this video with someone who you think may benefit from it, and I'll talk to you in the next one.